Hi, I'm your podcast host, Ashley Turk, and this is your third podcast episode where we discuss the cost of change in California's most beloved city, San Francisco. Today, I've brought back Jeff Briz, Director of Communications at Hamilton Families, once again, but this time we're discussing his personal experiences with gentrification in the city and the story behind why he had to move out. Hi, Jeff. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit just for the people who didn't see the first episode?
Yes. Hello, everyone. For those who didn't see the first episode, my name is Jeff Briz. I am the Director of Communications at Hamilton Families. Um, and I'm here to share a little bit about my personal experience.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. I know that last time we talked about gentrification more broadly, but can you share your personal connection to in San Francisco?
Yeah. Okay. So let's see where to start. To give you a little background, I am born and raised in the Bay Area, particularly the East Bay. Lived pretty much in every county in the Bay Area. Um, Born and raised in the East Bay. Lived in the Peninsula for a long time, and then lived in San Francisco, in the Richmond district for probably, well, it was 2017, so however long that is.
Mhm.
And just recently moved out of San Francisco to Oakland in November of 2025. Um, and to preface, the move out of San Francisco was very unexpected. It's something we definitely did not plan for. It just kind of happened, and I take total responsibility and ownership for how that whole process went down.
Mhm.
I chose a career path where I traded off basically higher income for a career that I knew was deeply fulfilling for
Mhm.
me.
Mhm.
Working in nonprofit social services, specifically with families who are experiencing homelessness.
Right.
And that's the trade-off that we had to make, is our income wasn't enough to sustain ourselves in San Francisco when we had to move out. And here we are.
Did your entire family move out with you, and do you still have family members in San Francisco?
Yeah, good question. So it's me and my wife. Um, so my wife is in school, and so I was this single uh, single income earner for us, and so that kind of like what I was talking about in the last episode for those who didn't tune in for that one. Basically, housing in the Bay Area is kind of like playing a game of musical chairs, um, and when it comes to housing, the less income you have, the more likely you're going to lose that game of
Right.
musical chairs.
Right.
And that was the position that we were in.
But you took that option yourself, and I know that definitely having a job that fulfills you better and gives you a greater sense of purpose is a great thing to have. But what would you say? Do you have any regrets about moving out, or was it all like more out of your control?
Yeah, good question. So probably not regrets.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, granted, I know for sure, like if I chose a different career path, then I could have easily gone into sales in the private sector and have
Yeah.
made a lot more money. To give you some context, currently, I am at about in San Francisco, I'm at about 70% AMI. That's area median income. Basically, that's considered low income in
Hmm.
San Francisco.
Hmm.
And so I had to move out to an area where I became 80% AMI, which is considered moderate income.
Hmm.
And so I definitely could have had a career path where I would be making well over 100% AMI. It could have hopefully comfortably stayed in San Francisco, but that was the trade-off that I made in terms of my career path. And here we are.
I have two questions. First of all, what would
Yeah.
you say is the general average income for someone living in San Francisco?
Average income. Oh gosh, I don't know about San Francisco itself, but the zip code that I was in, which was 94121, I think it was. I think the average household income there was around 135,000 to 160,000 per year. And where I am at now, it is I think like 70,000. So
Oh, okay.
significantly more in
Yeah,
San Francisco.
definitely a big change. But thank you for sharing that.
A huge change.
Yeah. My second question was, what specifically about your job at Hamilton Families inspired you to take on a larger role?
A larger role in terms of,
In terms of more like dedicating yourself to its cause and moving out from San Francisco to kind of pursue it as a career.
okay. So I was at Hamilton for 5 years.
Mhm.
To give you some context, I was in a career before that in the private sector that I was very good at,
Mhm.
and had the opportunity to make a significantly more money than I am now.
Mhm.
But let's how do I say? It wasn't fulfilling.
Yeah.
Um, it felt like it wasn't for me. And then when I found Hamilton Families during the pandemic, I ended up losing that job because of the pandemic. The pandemic shut the business down essentially.
Yeah.
And so I switched to Hamilton Families and have fallen in love with it ever since. Um, I originally came to Hamilton because of my own experiences with housing insecurity
Mhm.
as a kid.
Yeah.
And I came to Hamilton to kind of, in a way, heal that inner child of mine,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, by working with families who have gone through similar experiences.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. You're very much connecting to your younger self in a way. And
Oh, 100%.
yeah, definitely. And how would you say that your work is kind of filling in that hole that's left open from when you were a child?
Um, how is it filling that hole? Um,
How is it fulfilling you to help others from what the help you didn't have when you were a kid?
yeah, I think, gosh, how do I put this? I think it's making me, it definitely, as an adult now, it made me really understand what we went through back then in context of something much bigger.
Hmm.
That it was amidst the backdrop of, yeah, a lot of crazy like personal stuff, but also amidst the backdrop of uh, the affordability situation that we've been talking about,
Yeah.
um, and all those bigger macro factors that I see families struggling with a lot right now. And
Mhm.
I see families like really put a lot of the weight on their shoulders, and it's me helping them also realize that sure that there might be personal factors, but also showing them that hey, there's actually a much bigger thing at play here that you are kind of you find yourself in the middle of,
Mhm.
aka extreme housing costs
Yeah. Extreme housing.
skyrocketing in San Francisco as we speak.
Yes. What would you say
Yeah.
are some of the macro factors of the situation you're describing that have been consistent from when you were a child, until now?
Oh gosh. Macro factors. The the tech thing just seems to be like a common through line. So when at the time that I was a kid going through it, that was during the tech boom
Hmm.
of the late 90s, early 2000s. This is basically when the internet first became a thing,
Yeah.
and then the economy just like tagged onto it, and then the economy was booming, aka affordability or the affordability crisis started going up, and then the whole thing just fell apart. There was a whole economic crash because it
Hmm.
was called the dot-com bubble crash.
Yeah.
And so there was that up and then crash, and then you saw it again after the 2008 financial crisis with the tech
Hmm.
boom in San Francisco going up, and then pandemic happens and it crashes.
Yeah.
I was there for that particular one,
Hmm.
um, and I was in San Francisco at the height of the last tech bubble, and it was really, really expensive at that time. It was 2017 to 2019. There were tons of people coming into San Francisco for all these tech jobs in downtown. And things were getting, I think rent at that time was like $3,200 per month
Mhm.
for a one
Oh,
bedroom,
wow.
which is insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Um, and then the pandemic happened and everything completely uh, reversed where everyone left the city. It was crazy. I remember seeing so many moving trucks during the pandemic of
Really?
people just moving out because it was so expensive. And then there was remote, everyone was on Zoom, so they didn't
Yeah.
have to be in the office.
Yeah.
And there was this mass exodus. And for our work at Hamilton Families, it was the first time where landlords in San Francisco were actually calling us to
Oh,
see if we had any families that would, you know, be able to rent their units because they
yeah.
had nobody. So that was the weird silver lining with COVID, is that we were able, there was this window of opportunity to get families housed in San Francisco for
Hmm.
the long term, but that window has closed shut, I would say, probably within the last 2 years with the AI boom. I feel like people have been talking about AI for the past 10 years, but more along the lines of, look out, it's coming, better
Yeah.
be prepared.
Yeah.
And then
But
all of a sudden, AI just became this huge, like everyone found out how powerful it was, and it just
mhm.
became this huge thing. And then San Francisco became the hotbed of AI companies, and we're literally back to where we were before COVID with housing affordability. I think I just looked at it, it was like rent in San Francisco right now is at $3,200 again per
Wow.
month.
Yeah.
Um, and it looks like it's going to go higher. And I remember when we had to move out in September, there were all these articles coming out about how evictions were on the rise,
Mhm.
higher than it's ever been, and rents were out of control. And then when we were looking for housing in San Francisco, we did not want to leave San Francisco.
Yeah.
When we were looking for housing, there was literally nothing available.
Yeah. I bet. Going
Yeah.
back a little bit to the pandemic specifically, did you see any cultural shifts during this time? Because I know that a lot of people are moving out. Did you see
Mm.
any culture being brought back in the time?
Culture being brought back. I don't know about, so in terms of culture being pushed out during the, let's say, 2010s
Yeah.
tech, the whole tech bubble thing there.
Mhm.
I don't wouldn't say so much that it was coming back. I think it was just evolving, and it was more so the ability to keep low income communities in San Francisco, not just in San Francisco, but in better neighborhoods. So, for example, at Hamilton, our work has always been to house families, and before the pandemic, we were housing the overall majority of the families outside of San Francisco because of the housing costs.
Right.
But then during the pandemic, we were able to house families in really good neighborhoods in
Oh,
San
wow.
Francisco
Yeah.
because of the affordability part of it.
That's great. Do you know if they were able to stay after the pandemic kind of lessened up?
Yeah, so that currently is what we are uh, figuring out right now, because those families were housed in great neighborhoods under what was called an EHV voucher. So basically, that's like a permanent voucher funded by the federal government.
Okay.
Um, but now that money's gone because the federal government last year it just completely eliminated the program. And so
Wow.
now we're over the next 2 years, we're trying to figure out, okay, what do we do from here
Yeah.
with the families who were housed here?
Yeah.
What are the options? So that we're still to be determined.
You're definitely stuck in a situation now of kind of what do
Yes,
we do with these families who now are having their homes taken away from them once again.
100%.
Okay. Um, could we go back to when you were a child really quick and about the neighborhood you used to live in? Do you want to share a little bit about
Mm.
like?
Yeah, so my situation was very, very unique in that we were in uh, very very high, I guess, high wealth areas in the Bay. This is not in San Francisco. This is in the East Bay.
Mhm,
Great schools, great communities, great neighborhoods.
mhm.
We had situations come up. where we lost those housing situations and found ourselves at one point we were in a hotel for a certain period of time, and then we moved in with family, and then we were in a smaller place within the same community. Um, and so that our my family situation was very unique. It wasn't so much the types of situations that we see in the city right now.
Yeah. hmm Um, how would you say that living through a situation of housing insecurity shaped how you view people who are currently facing housing
Oh
insecurity?
gosh. Um, there's definitely a level of empathy there. I think that that goes with any type of social services people work in. If you have personal experience with it, you just have this ability to relate and empathize with the people that you're serving.
hmm
And you have a better ability to help that family, client, participant, whoever navigate those situations because you have those lived experiences.
Definitely. I think empathy definitely goes a long way.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think like right now with our current situation of having to move out of San Francisco recently and coming to um, a much higher poverty community,
hmm
um, I am able to really empathize with the families that we're working with right now who are going through the same exact thing
Yeah.
because it's hard. And again, like I am in a much better situation in the sense that I have a stable income. I don't have kids.
Yeah.
Um, and the families that we serve are single parent households with multiple young children, may not have employment,
hmm
and they're in a much worse situation.
Yeah.
And so those are different dynamics that I personally will never fully understand or comprehend. But I do have my own personal experience.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Um, was there any particular moment in your neighborhood, childhood neighborhood, where you started to notice significant shifts, whether
Hmm.
economically, socially?
No, I can't really say so much for my neighborhood, just because my neighborhood was the neighborhoods I grew up in the East Bay were very unique.
hmm
Um, but for sure in San Francisco, when I was living there, and from what I saw from the outside looking in when I was a kid of San Francisco,
hmm
um, it's just those. It seems to just ebb and flow with the economy and what's happening in the economy.
Yeah.
And it's this whole question of where's that balance of attracting business and private interests and capital into a community, while at the same time trying to protect the people who currently live there. And I think that San Francisco is still trying to figure out that balance.
Yeah. Could
I'm not
you,
even sure. I don't know if we'll ever figure it out. Who
yeah,
knows?
honestly, I'm not sure. Um, could you go a little further into how capitalism plays a role in San Francisco, especially during these times?
Oh gosh, capitalism. Ooh, how much time we got for this podcast?
Uh,
So
we're 20 minutes in?
capitalism. Um, well, let's say let's quickly say that capitalism in and of itself is not an evil thing. It's
No,
simply um, a type of economic structure.
right. Just like gentrification itself, it's not inherently evil, but
Correct. It's just like the outcome.
definitely.
But
Yes.
and so to put it bluntly, America would not be where it is currently without capitalism, because
Right.
capitalism is basically the fuel to economic growth.
hmm
And so uh, capitalism in San Francisco has had its pros and cons. Pros being that incredible amounts of innovation has happened in San Francisco, and San Francisco is known for it's like the capital of innovation. It seems like
Right.
this whole thing with AI is like this is like the next industrial revolution.
Right. And I
Um,
think that the startup culture that's really prominent right now definitely plays a big role because these younger people are
yeah,
coming in and they're starting their startups. They're getting people to join in on their companies and they're making these
yes,
things, especially very STEM focused, that
yes.
definitely have a large impact on the world, not negatively, very positively in most cases.
Yeah. So exactly. And it's like that can't happen without the environment of capitalism
Right.
because capital flows to that innovation.
Yeah.
Um, the tricky part is when the mechanisms of capitalism itself are unchecked,
Hmm.
and that can lead to all types of things because in and of itself, capitalism is basically, or economics is the study of how humans behave, and so it's humans who are running these things, and
Right.
humans are liable for, it's all throughout history of greed, of power, of all types
Hmm.
of things. And so
Hmm.
when that becomes unchecked, it's very easy for things to go sideways in terms of, in this conversation, we're talking about gentrification
Yeah.
um, unless we uh, put guardrails around it that are safe and prioritize and making sure that we're all on the same page in terms of what we
Mhm.
are valuing within the society.
I mean, you see that all the way back from a long time ago in history when there was like political bosses who would become kind of like the main I don't know how to describe it. They would have, yeah, they would be greedy. They would take control of the money in a society and definitely harm the economy in various ways.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the amazing part is when we do find that perfect balance of uh, investing in our innovation while at
Mhm.
the same time protecting our most vulnerable communities.
Right.
I think that is when we will really see San Francisco
Yeah.
flourish.
That's when you will see a new boom, not the tech boom, but a new boom in just greatness in San Francisco if it
Yeah.
would ever happen in some utopian world, but maybe people will take steps towards this right direction and find that balance between the people itself and
Yeah,
action. Right.
totally. I always see it almost like this game of, I don't know if this is the right analogy, but tug of war. It's like you're
Yeah.
constantly one end is always pulling against the other, and it's like trying to if one end goes too far one way, the game is over kind of
Right.
thing. Maybe
Yeah.
that's not the right analogy, but
No, it makes sense.
it's finding that balance.
Yeah. Definitely finding a balance is
Maybe
key.
a seesaw. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we need to find two weights that will balance something. Okay.
Yes.
Um, what would you say is the process of how you find housing, especially in your situation where you had to move out of San Francisco and kind of have a fresh slate of finding a home?
Yeah. Okay. So from my experience, the most recent experience,
Hmm.
when we were notified that we needed to move out of our current place, it was obviously immediately looking on the different rental sites that are available. I discovered a couple of new ones like Rent Cafe, use Zillow, all that type of stuff.
Hmm.
Um, look for homes that are in your price range, and then hopefully you can book an appointment with the landlord.
Yeah.
And it became very clear when we were looking at places in San Francisco that we just were not going to be able to afford anything
Right.
in the
Right.
city.
Yeah.
And so we, you know, we told ourselves that we wanted to stay in San Francisco. That was the goal.
Hmm.
But and I'll put it this way: there were places in San Francisco that we could have moved to,
Hmm.
specifically in the Tenderloin. So for those of you who know the Tenderloin, it's a tough spot to live. Um, and there were specific affordable housing units available that we could have moved into. The only problem is that we had pets, and they didn't allow pets.
Oh,
And
darn.
that was one of our stipulations was that under no circumstances would we ever give up any of our pets.
Definitely.
Um, and so once that came up, it was pretty clear that we had to look outside of San Francisco.
Hmm.
So we looked as far out as Contra Costa County, Alameda County, Marin, peninsula, and it became very clear that the Contra Costa Alameda was pretty much our only options.
Hmm.
And fortunately, we found a great place in Oakland that had it's a small house with a yard, so it's perfect for our animals.
Yeah.
The only thing is that it's in a very, very high. I mean, the poverty rate tripled compared to where we were living. Um, High crime, low education rates. I think it was like 14% of residents here have a college degree.
Yeah.
I think it's
Wow.
like 60% have a high school degree. Whereas in San Francisco, it's pretty much 90, probably
Yeah.
90 to 95% have high
How
school
would you,
degrees.
yeah, how would you compare it to the Tenderloin in terms of like poverty rates? Like, do you see a contrast?
Good question. I will put it this way. Human suffering is on display in the community that I currently live in.
Mhm.
I don't know. Let's see if I don't know if you can see. Let me move my screen. Flip screen. So I'm in the park nearby. As you can see, there is, you know, RVs lined up.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I don't know if you can see in the back, but there
A little
is
bit, yeah.
a whole homeless encampment over there.
Wow.
And yeah, it's a it's funny because it's well not funny, but it's ironic that it is a very it's a tough. I'll put it this way: when we came out here to look at the home,
Hmm.
I was a little shell shocked, to be quite honest.
Really?
Uh, I wasn't sure how we were going to live here, and it was very uh, abrupt, I guess. But when we did move in, we fell in love with it.
Yeah.
There's a very rich culture here that you don't find in San Francisco.
Mm,
There's a very rich Hispanic Latino culture, a very rich history in the Black community specifically. So many different faith organizations. There's churches everywhere,
yeah.
and the community here like is uh, really strong. Like they look out for one another. The neighbors look out for one another. I feel like that is almost like a survival mechanism in a way that everyone just has to band together.
Mhm.
So yes, to put it this way, yes, there is a lot of crime. Yes, there are gangs. Yes, there is a lot of street homelessness.
Mhm.
There's a lot of poverty. And at the same time, there is rich, abundant culture.
Right.
And the sad part is that even this community is also undergoing its own gentrification process.
Mhm. And that's what you
People,
see in so many cities, where you have this contrast of rich culture, but also the hardships that people face on the daily
yes,
and how that all ties into gentrification.
yes, 100%. And yeah, it's funny because when we moved in, I know folks were kind of skeptical of me when they saw me of like, are you coming to gentrify my neighborhood? And
Yeah.
um, I had to come in to be very open and letting them know that like I'm excited to be a part of this, your neighbor. I'm excited to be a part of this community. I want to help this neighborhood as much as I can,
Yeah.
and make sure that everyone who lives in this neighborhood is thriving. And that looks like us having each other's backs.
Yeah, that's great. That's definitely in sharp contrast to the analogy of the white man walking into a city being the symbol of gentrification and definitely there's like I don't know, someone told me this analogy. I think it was Meredith Esla actually. Um,
Mm,
she explained to me the analogy of the white man walking in, kind of like being pulled by his dog on a leash into a neighborhood and being the symbol of like a very sharp shift in demographics in a city. So,
mm. Yeah, interesting.
yeah, it's nice to see how you were kind of breaking those expectations and standards, and you were
Yeah,
telling people that you're inviting yourself, or not inviting yourself in, but you're welcome to being a true part of the community.
100%. And I think it's, part of that is the empathy thing of like, I work with unhoused families and like I understand those fears.
Hmm.
Um, And I know my wife and I definitely want to make sure that people knew that they could, rely on us and trust
Yeah,
us and know that we were here to contribute.
yeah, that's wonderful to hear. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just as we're running short on time again, we have 8 minutes left of this meeting. Um, just for some reflection, looking back, what do you wish that more people understood about displacement? Being, and in your experience, being displaced from your home.
Yeah. Displacement. I, it is, it's largely an economic thing. It's largely a macroeconomic thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, Displacement impacts people you wouldn't even consider.
Right.
I know a lot of people when they think displacement, they think of like the lowest income neighborhoods, families who may have struggled with generational poverty for a long time, which yes, it does impact them. Yes, of course, or substance use, or things like that.
Mhm.
But it really impacts everybody. It's just the question of if you fall under a certain income level, um, you're going to be impacted.
Yeah,
Period.
definitely. Its effects have a much broader level than most people realize.
Correct. And it's and I feel like there can be a lot more done in terms of protecting
Hmm.
communities
Hmm.
from gentrification.
Definitely. And those are the next steps to finding more solutions to these issues.
100%.
So, connecting this overall podcast and message to high school students like me, why do you think that it's important for young people to listen to stories like yours?
Hmm. Listen to stories like mine. Well, I obviously get that first person perspective because I think stories are how we change the world. Um,
Definitely. Yeah.
we are human beings. We naturally are influenced by stories since we've been around.
Yeah.
And so that's one reason. Hopefully, my story impacts someone in some formal way to
Mhm.
hopefully at least learn more about the issue or take action on the issue.
Yeah. That's a beautiful way to put it. Yeah.
Yes, stories.
Yeah.
That's how we change everything.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you again for taking time out of your day to join in on this podcast episode, and I really appreciate our conversation.
Of course. Thank you so much, Ashley.
Thank you.